guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Shrestha and you're watching This Might Help. Believe it or not guys, I am filming this video for the second time. Yes, last time it had some issues going on and I had to refilm it again. So I hope so this time everything goes fine. In today's video, we're going to talk about books. Yes, all about books. I have all my books here and I'm super excited to talk about this video. So without any further ado, let's get started. So this video is basically divided into three parts. In the first part, we'll learn how can you create your very own reading list, especially if you're a beginner. In the second part, I'm going to talk about my top recommendations from 2020 book recommendations. And in the third part, we're going to talk about my reading list for 2021. So I'm super excited because I love reading. Now for the first part of this video, where we're going to talk about how can you create your very own reading list. Last year, I also created a very similar video where I talked about my book recommendations for 2020 and how you can create your reading list. I'm going to link that video somewhere here and also in the description box below so that your work becomes easier. Do check that video out because I talked about how you can create your reading list in depth there, and I think it's going to be more useful. But since the principles and the foundation of creating a reading list remains the same, I'm going to quickly discuss those points in this video as well. But like I said, if you want to know more, I already have a video on that. So my first tip is for especially those who are total beginners and who want to create a reading list or who actually want to start reading. Choose a book which is easy to understand, it's written in a simple language, and is something which interests you. You have to be interested in that particular topic. Now the question comes, how you're going to find such book? I would say start by asking yourself questions like, what are the things which interests you? Do you want to start with a fiction or a non-fiction book? Do you want to start with something which is on a light note? And when you answer all these questions, you have a general guide what sort of book you should be reading. Then once you know what sort of book you want to read, my other tips will help you find such book. 2. Join a Facebook group or an Instagram account. This really helps and you can make the most out of the social media by joining such groups. Now, I'm also personally a member of a group which is led by Rubyreads. She is a YouTuber. I love her videos and especially the aesthetic of her videos. She has a Facebook group. I'm just gonna check what was the name. The name of the group is #Rubyreads Book Club. Yes, it's an amazing group. It's a closed group on Facebook. It has more than 3.4 thousand members. Yes, and every month she has a poll where we select 2 books and then we get to read it and then we review it together. Honestly, I have not been following for every month. I've not been very active in that group, but it does help you recommend some very nice books. And the book recommendation I would have in this video, one of the fiction books, I got that recommendation from the same group. So yes, it really helps you. So I would highly recommend joining any Facebook group or Instagram account where they talk about book reviews, and you get to be a part of a like-minded community who all want to read. Tip number 3, and by far this is the one I use the most to select the books I want to read personally, and this is especially for my non-fiction and self-help books kind. Now what I do is I actually like to jot down all my goals, whatever I want to achieve for that particular year, and I want to sit down, even it can be your monthly goals, your weekly goals, any goal in general, okay? So you jot down your goals and you see what you want to learn. So for example, I'll give you an example. I have a book here which is on my 2021 reading list. Yes, and this is this beautiful book, Mindfulness, a Practical Guide to Finding Peace in a Frantic World by Mark Williams and Danny Penman. So basically this book here is how I decided to read was I want to learn more about mindfulness. I have done an 8-week mindfulness course, and this book here stays true to its name. It's a practical guide on how you can practice mindfulness in your everyday life. So this goal of how I want to be mindful led me to this book. Similarly, last year, I wanted to learn more about finance, and that's how I chose the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So choose the goal, you want to achieve, and then find a book which helps you achieve that goal. Now, the next tip I have for you guys is to keep a reading list throughout the year. Yes, just to be really handy, I have one of those lists in my phone, in the notes section. I maintain it, and the other one in my journal. Every time I have a book recommendation, I make sure I just quickly jot it down. This will always make sure that you always have a list of recommendations which are good, and you should be, giving a try. So it helps you have a backup all the time, and that really helped me to, quickly have a list for my 2021 read. It's like I don't want to have to waste a lot of time, and also on the similar lines, I don't even have to buy all the books at the same time. I just can put it in the list so that when I want to read a new book, I can know which one to choose from it. Now, if you have a question, how can you maintain a reading list? It's very easy. Videos like these where we share our recommendations or people who inspired you. Like one of the books in my recommendation would be from Saloni Srivastav. Like I follow her, and there are quite few recommendations she gives, so I have jotted down few recommendations from her. There's so many other authors that you can sit down and think about, and every time they give you a book recommendation, you can quickly write it down. And obviously your favorite authors, if they release any new book, you can always put that in the list. And now comes the part where you have to buy the book. Now it's totally up to you, but if you want to have a sneak peek into the book, I would highly urge and recommend you to read the sample part of the book, which really helps you to choose whether or not you should be going ahead and buying that book. For example, gone are the good old days when I used to, go into a bookshop and then pick up a book, read the back part, the summary part here, and what reviews people have of it, and then buy the book. The disadvantage of that method was that you would end up buying few books that you won't enjoy or you won't like, or what you expected from just that quick summary, the book is not of that kind. Okay, so you don't end up enjoying it. That was the only issue. Now the quick fix to this problem was to have a sneak peek to the book. Now I have iPhone, and they have an inbuilt app called Apple Books, and basically whatever title you're interested in, just type it in there and you'll have a sample of 30 to 40 pages, which is a good amount to understand whether or not that book will work for you or not. And I usually read it. If I like it, I just go ahead and I purchase it. I think there should be some way that you can read it through Google Reads or something, that you can get like a quick sample of Google Books, and then you can read those pages and understand whether you want to buy it or not. This tip right here has helped me to understand whether or not I'm interested in a particular book, so I would highly urge you to try it out. Now you guys, the second part where I have some book recommendations from 2020 which you can have a read. Let's quickly get into it. Before I start talking about my book recommendations, my favorite books from 2020, I did a video of a similar kind where I discussed my 6 book recommendations. I would highly urge you to check it out. I'm not going to repeat those books in this video. I'm just going to quickly talk about my 4 other books. So in this year I read total 16 books. My goal was to read 25 books. I ended up reading 16, out of which 10 were my absolute favorite. 6 I have shared in that previous video, 4 I'm going to share here. And yes, my next year goal is to also read 25 books, and yes, I'm super excited for that. Okay, now the first recommendation I have for you guys is The Secret by Rhonda. Oh my god, an absolute amazing book, especially if you believe in law of attraction, manifestation, and getting all the good things in life. Now, if you don't know what law of attraction is, in its simple terms, law of attraction is when you end up attracting things in your life by believing in them. Like positive thoughts will bring you positive outcomes, negative thoughts will bring you negative outcomes, and I truly believe in it. And then how you manifest your dreams, and how you can manifest your dream life and everything you want in your life just by manifesting it, just by believing in it till you actually receive it. So yes, I truly believe in it, and this book was a wonderful book. It just not talks about law of attraction, how to go about it, but also talks about how you can use the secret in all aspects of your life, whether it's career, your health, your success, money, the world. It talks about every aspect, and I loved reading this book. I think you have to try before you can say whether or not law of attraction works or not, so definitely give it a go. Now, my second recommendation for you guys is Good Lives, Good Vibes by Vex King. Absolutely love this book. It is a very easy to understand book written in beautiful, simple, easy English. If you're a beginner, I would highly urge you to read this book. And you know guys, especially during this time, during this uncertain, difficult times, books like these help you to be grounded, to concentrate on things which are really important in life, and at the end of the day, these are the most important things. It talks about self-love, manifestation, about being in a state where you just attract good things in life, and also about expressing gratitude. And if you know me or have been following my channel, you know these three things, self-love, gratitude, or manifestation, is something I truly believe in. Self-love especially, I'm so passionate about this topic, and this book was such a delight to read, so would highly urge anyone to read it. So the third recommendation I have for you guys is Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. I don't have that book here because I listened to the audiobook instead, and it was narrated by Jay Shetty himself. It was a delight listening to him. So the book is divided into 3 parts, and it's again a self-help book. So the first part is Let Go, second part is Grow, and third part is Give. So in this book, Shetty talks about his experiences as monk and all those little stories and incidents which happened. What I also loved was every section was followed by a beautiful meditation which you could try. So since I was listening to an audiobook, I would let him guide me through those meditations, and it was amazing. Those are very basic yet very powerful sort of meditations which I would highly urge you to try if you're either reading or listening to this book. So I wouldn't say that this book had something very different compared to most of the self-help books. It was again talking about understanding your mind, your purpose of life, about healing, but how he beautifully crafted everything together and the way he presents it, it feels good to read it. It's again a very easy to understand sort of book which I would highly urge you to read and try for yourself. And my fourth book recommendation is Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. This is a fiction book, a dark mystery thriller kind of a book. Absolutely loved it. It's a sequel from the first book, which was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Both the books were so hard to keep it down. Once I started, every chapter was ending up in a cliffhanger moment, and you were like, okay, what's gonna happen next? I just love this book, how beautifully the author keeps you, completely hooked up on the plot. So I won't give much about this book because at the end of the day, it's a thriller book. But what I'm gonna just give it out is, in this particular book, our main character is trying to find somebody is missing, and she's trying to find that person. And that's all I'm going to tell you about this book, because I don't want to give any spoilers. But yes guys, it's an absolute delight. And you guys, this book recommendation I got from the Facebook group I talked about in the beginning of the video, the one I'm following from Rubyreads. So somebody had recommended this book there, and I have no regrets of reading it. Absolutely love this book. I think from both the books from Holly Jackson, this is a sequel from the first part. So the first part, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, I think that was my favorite compared to both. Like, I loved, that was my first time reading this author, and it was amazing. But this one is good as well. And those were all my favorite 4 books from this year. And now let's talk about the final part of this video, which is my reading list for 2021. As I'm already saying, this video is becoming really long, so I'm not going to talk about all the books. I'm just going to quickly share few of my book recommendations from 2021 which are on my reading list, and I'm going to read them. I already have them here, and I'm just going to give you 1 or 2 reasons why am I reading this book. So yes, let's get started with the first book, which is this mindfulness book. I'm going to put the name and the author here. So I just want to read this book. This was suggested by my mentor when I was doing this 8 weeks mindfulness course, and I never got around to reading it, but I finally bought it, and I am going to read this book. And if you're wondering what mindfulness is nothing but to be aware of your present moment, to be conscious, to be present in the present moment. That's all what mindfulness is about. And like the book title says, it's a practical guide, and it will take you from each task and meditation, and week by week it teaches you how to be more and more mindful. The second book on my reading list is The 4-Hour Work Week by Timothy Ferriss. I'm already halfway through this book, to be very honest. This was from my 2020 reading list, but I took a break from reading for a while, and then I just have to get back to this book. Absolutely loving this book so far, but I would update you guys with the reviews and everything on my Instagram. I actually do it there. I review few books and I suggest and I talk about books there. So I'm very active on my Instagram. If you're not following me there, please do. My Instagram handle is thismighthelp.tmh, and I'll keep you updated with all the books I'm reading. Now, my next two recommendations are from the same author, Eckhart. This one is The Power of Now. I'm sure so many of you must have heard about this book. And the other one is Practicing the Power of Now. This is also based about mindfulness and being in the present and the power of being in the present. And if you can see, these books look a bit old. This is because I bought them when I just started reading self-help books, and this was back in my first year of college. So yes, I have had them for like 5 to 6 years now, and I read them. But here's the deal, every book has a lot to teach you, and books like these, which are really heavy, have a lot to teach you. At every stage of your life, you would make the most out of them. Now that I am on my self-growth journey, I have come so far and I'm still going strong, and now that my circumstances are changing, things are changing, I'm sure I would have so many new things to learn from these books. So every now and then I do like to get back to my self-help books, the ones which I've kept or which moved me back then, because I'm sure there will be so much I can learn from them now. So yes, that's again a good tip. Books which really spark joy, and you have them because you really loved them or they made an impact in your life. Chances are every time you look back and read those books, you will definitely have something new to learn. Those books will definitely have something to offer you. So yes, we'll be getting to these two books, and also to one of my another old book, which is The Magic of Thinking Big. I think I read it in my high school, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So yes, it's been quite a while. Again, this book is about the magic of thinking big, like the title itself says, and how you can change your life by following the simple tips this book has to offer you. So I would love to go back to this one and read it again. And the two more recommendations I'm going to talk in this video. Don't worry, I make these videos every now and then where I share my recommendations. So the other book is The Art of Happiness by Dalai Lama. I absolutely was intrigued looking at the art of happiness, the title here. So I bought this book when I was at the post office doing some work. Really intrigued me. I bought this one and would love to see what this book has to offer me. And finally, the last book on my 2021 reading list is The Greatest Secret by Rhonda. Again, this was launched this year. I pre-ordered it. It was here, and now I can't wait to get into this book. I think the principles and everything about The Secret would remain the same. So I'm really intrigued what this book has to offer. But at the back you will read, it says, once you know, freedom is yours. So yes, leaving you guys on that note. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, you know the drill. Please do not forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and also hit the little bell icon next to it so that you can be updated with all my latest videos. And guys, stay happy. Meet you soon. Bye.